Oh, hello everyone. This is Tony from Informed Citizen Reporting. So today is January 4th, Monday. What I'm thinking about doing is a daily recap of the news, just a brief overview of the stories of the day and then my thoughts on them. So I'm just going to read the headlines, maybe a few lines and maybe a few paragraphs, and then give you my take. My main news source is Citizen Free Press, which is here, citizenfreepress.com. I recommend using them. It's a good news aggregate, a really good site. So we'll start from the top. Usually I just start from the top, and then it's just a scrolling website with all the different sites, or a bunch of different stories, So we got the Watch Live Steve Bannon War Room evening show. I usually don't watch Steve Bannon War Room. I find him obnoxious. That's just my opinion. Some people might like that style of thing. I don't. Trump holds Senate runoff rally in Georgia. That's good. Okay, there's a party going on. Usually it's just a link to like either a video or another article or Twitter post, usually. Oh, and then one of my favorite parts about this site is you have the comments. All right, so this guy, Jim H, said, Trump just said we have to go all the way. Just watch in the coming weeks what is coming. If we don't take the presidency, we'll have a country run by Schumer, Pelosi, and Biden, which is horrendous, right? I hope the Mike Pence will come through for us. Counting on Mike Pence, huh? Not very wise, but whatever. You guys, are you speaking to me? All right, cool. That's just an example. So the Dow Jones Industrial just touched a record and then came back down. So it was 30,223.89. That's where it was. Yeah, that's where it is now. S&P and the Nasdaq, both of them slid about 1.5. God, why there's so many freaking pop-ups, man. What is it, CNBC? Yeah. Freaking CNBC, kiss my ass. Nah. Oh, shit, there we go. Resident DC, fellow position of High Capacity Magazine. Okay. Well, probably shouldn't have that. That just showed up too. See, they constantly update the site, even to the minute. All right, let's see. Chicago man gets street justice. 2 perps shot, 1 dead. I already read that one earlier. That one's just some kids stole a car. Some teenagers stole incident, shoots 2 teens, killing 1. More of the story: don't steal other people's cars. I mean, it's that simple, man. If you want a car, work for it. Andy Biggs and Paul Gosar will object to the electoral count. That's good. The more people, the better. It's like it's kind of like a numbers thing, right? The more people that object, the more likely they will be to. God, I hate all these bubbles. More likely, the Senate will have to contest the election. That way, it's a contested election. That way, we can actually get some real freaking numbers in there. All right. What is Boris thinking? This is Boris Johnson. UK PM Johnson declared a new national hard lockdown for England effective from midnight. You must only leave home for very limited reasons. I'm telling you, dude, this is what the lockdown is all about: is control, tyrannical control of the government, from the government, of the people, right? And then this guy, cynical optimist, said, notice there's less cutting edges and timely stuff for at CFP these days. Maybe they're working on big changes for the site or something. Boris is just another horrible British Prime Minister in a long line of losers. The lockdown did nothing for the first time around, so this inept leader is repeating the same mistake again, hoping for a different outcome this time. Europe and the U.S. has learned nothing from the Swedes, who actually use logic and science in response to COVID. Oh, we learn. It's just the leaders are they have their own agendas, right? people in charge have their agendas and they push it when they have power. So if you don't have power, then you can't complain about it, right? You can only vote and hope for the best. Comb your hair, you fool. You aren't 18 anymore. Sorry. Fascists come in all types. Blah, 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 blah. All right, let's see. Keep on going. Kid Rock donates 100 grand to a small business fund. That's good. I always like Kid Rock. This is the America I love. Put me down for 100K. And I only post this in hopes others as blessed as me be moved to help out. Kid Rock. That's a good message. Yeah, help those less fortunate if you have the means. Chuck Todd. I can't show the clip, but Chuck Todd gets smacked down by Ron Johnson, Senator Ron Johnson. He says, "You destroy the credibility of the news media with your bias, and you carried water for Democrats." Yeah, it's freaking, who's he, MSNBC? I don't freaking know. But Chuck Todd, all the mainstream media newscasters or teleprompter readers, I'm sorry, I give them way too much credit. They don't broadcast the news. They're disinformation agents. Yeah, meet the press. Yeah, meet the press. Meet Chuck Todd. This is the guy, 1775. Must suck to never come out of your gated community. Another guy says, "Who wants to join me in skinning this rat bastard?" Even Satan can't stand Princess Chuck. Here it is. Todd is not a journalist. He spends all the time hitting Trump and all his supporters. What a little man boy. That's true. Chuckles needs to be, okay. All right. Chuck Todd has to stop drinking his own bathwater. Oh yeah, he talks about on the hearing. He talks about the hearings on 9/11 and moon landing. He's talking about yeah. So Chuck Todd talks about, why don't we investigate the fake moon landing or the 9/11 inside job, all that crap. He's just bringing up like ridiculous conspiracy theories to lump in the voter fraud with that, right? That's a common tactic by the CIA and any other operatives, is to take a legitimate conspiracy and lump it with all the ridiculous conspiracy theories, right? And then just to discredit whatever you're trying to say, right? It's a way to distract and deter, right? It's like, hey, you're being crazy if you think that voter fraud is actually real, right? It can't happen in the United States of America, right? The free and fair elections. That's like it's almost like the golden goose. You can't crack open the voting boxes, the tally box. You can't break them open and recount them. It's like you might actually break the system. You might actually find out that there's massive voter fraud and our elections haven't been true elections in decades, maybe centuries. Who knows? And this guy says the deplorable incisor. Honest and transparent investigative journalism is dead at all American mainstream media outlets. Agreed. They have an agenda and they don't care what your facts say. They will stick to their messaging no matter what. When the traitors are lined up for execution, I'm still waiting on that. The talking heads of these news outlets need to be the first in line, along with their editors and owners. The traitors in our news media are the biggest traitors of all, because none of this could have happened. None of this could happen without them. True. The media gets to use anonymous sources without ever having to, actually show the proof of source, and they can say anything they want, right? They can use a fifth-hand hearsay and say, "Oh, anonymous sources close to the matter," and they could literally make up anything they want and then say that's the truth. This is the truth, based on what our source says, and then they're unaccountable for if they later found out that it's wrong or unverifiable. They just say, "Oh, our source told us this, so we have to stick with our source." That's the problem with using anonymous sources and unaccountable media. But yeah, what are you gonna do, right? What are you gonna do? All right, let's see. Final numbers released on FBI gun checks. So, FBI gun checks up 40%. Gun checks meaning background checks. A record 39 million, meaning everyone's buying guns. That's right. Yeah, my buddy told me it's a perfect saying. He says, if Republicans win, then people protest. If Democrats win elections, then Republicans buy guns and ammo, So, well, what he says is, that's what he says. If Republicans get elected, then the Democrats protest and whine and complain and bitch and moan, But if Democrat wins, then Republicans buy ammo and supplies, So, it's to me, it's hilarious. It's true though. So, cop buys foods for family instead of arresting them. That's nice. It's kind of like Les Miserables. I can't pronounce it. Les Miserables. The French play about the guy who steals and then the guy gives him all the silver. It's similar. Yeah, about them gift card, blah blah blah. 2 women reported not to be scanning all their groceries. It's sad, man. Expected to happen a lot more because of this stupid ass lockdown, which is all planned, by the way. I mean, if you don't think this is planned, then you're not paying attention. You're not looking at what's happening versus what's being done about it, right? And Trump says it all the time. The cure can't be worse than the disease or the virus, right? If you lock everyone down and they can't make it a living and they start dying from starvation and lack of health and nutrition, right? Like if people start dying of lack of medical needs being met, lack of treatment. To me it's fascinating, right? It's like they'll study this in the future. I think it'll be a massive case study of how not to. Of what not to do during a pandemic, right? It's like it's kind of hard to describe. This is what you don't do. You don't overreact to something small, right? Like the virus. The coof, as they call it, to avoid the YouTube algorithms. Is no worse than the common flu or the common cold. So, less deadly than the common flu, and still they shut down the world economy. There's something else going on, obviously. So, all right, let's go. Jim Caviezel, you should listen to this. I can't play it, but it's pretty good. He gives a speech from Reagan where he says, how do so many people with so much to lose do so little to keep it, right? To fight for it. It's true. Reagan had a lot of good speeches. And it's true. People have to fight for it. I mean, freedom isn't free, right? Reagan also said freedom is always one generation away from being destroyed. You have to fight for it to maintain it, right? It's not automatic. Okay, what to expect from Georgia counts votes. No one cares. Truly, there's nothing we can do about it. We can just watch from afar. Watch Stacey Abrams freaking gloating about freaking voter fraud and election fraud right in front of people's faces, and nothing you can do about it. Political hit piece, yeah. Politico, another left-leaning liberal site that doesn't report the news. Only their bias shows. MAGA marches. Plot final DC stand on January 6th. After failed lawsuits and investigations, Trump supporters are traveling in D.C. in a doomed bid to convince Congress to overturn the election. Blah, blah, blah. I don't usually read these stories because they truly, it hurts my very being to read these. They're so stupid. It's so stupid. It's basically saying, hey, Trump has no chance. Don't even try. Don't fight it. We won. We cheated. We won. Haha. That's all it is. It's like that's all these liberal sites do is they cheat, they lie, they steal, and then they laugh about it by getting away with it because, you know, the entire media, the Department of Justice, all the judges, they're all liberal hacks anyway. So, well, majority liberals, right? Well, they say 85% of the media is liberal. Other 15% haven't registered to vote yet. Let's see. Yeah, there's a story about a woman that stabbed her husband while he was sleeping. Not to be an awesome sight. This Mississippi lady had a dream that her husband cheated on her, so she got up, got a knife from the kitchen, and shanked him while he slept. Oh, isn't that lovely? Isn't that like the perfect wife, right? Just because she dreamed in her crazy mind that you cheated on her, she's going to stab you. It's like, it's sad, really. Truly, I mean, yeah. It's impossible to trust somebody if they create their own problems in their mind and then just act irrationally. Ted Cruz, I like Ted Cruz. You know, he's a talker, but I don't think he's presidential material. So it's our duty to protect the integrity of the democratic process. We have no other choice. I think Democrats need to tone down the rhetoric. This is already a volatile situation. It's like a tinderbox and throwing the matches into it. Democrats are urging that I should be arrested and tried for the crime of sedition and treason. Now, look, that's not helpful. At a time in this country when we're pitted against each other, just relax and let's do our jobs. We have a responsibility to follow the law, the senator said. So, it's like Ted Cruz is trying to tell people, hey, relax, do your job. Don't overreact. If there's voter fraud, we'll find it. If there's not, we'll move on, right? It's like, what's the harm in searching for something and trying to find the truth rather than just trusting the process, right? It's like if you blindly trust someone, they will abuse and misuse that trust, right? Like I don't like using the example of judges, but judges say, hey, trust our judgment. We're the judges, right? We've been appointed judges, so we get to judge on people, right? So it's like, if you can't question their judgment, then they have ultimate authority, and the judges have no repercussions for their judgments either. So yeah, it's kind of like too much power in my opinion. All right, here we go. Counting only the legal votes is a threat to our democracy. The Democrats. No Republican observers allowed. The Dominion voting system. Yep. That's the political cartoons. They're pretty funny. Place the videos on Rebels. So much less likely to get false copyright strike. Something's going on here. YouTube is blocking the video, supposedly, because it contains copyright material. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Continuing. Gary Martinson is dead. Frontman of the Mersey Beat band Gary and the Peacemakers has sadly passed away. See, I don't know, man. I don't even know who this guy is. I mean, one of the Gary and the band are part of the Abbey Road story. Never heard of it. Yeah, okay. So this guy died. Cool. Very sad for his family. Gary and the Peacemakers. Okay, cool. No more mask. Patriot storm LA shopping center. Anti-mask demonstration at Ralph's. Citizens are beginning to fight back. These videos are from Los Angeles yesterday. Cool. Yeah, masks are stupid. They don't work. It's already been proven. Says I was coshed at Colonel Sanders drive-up window for not wearing a mask in my car. I replied that I prefer toxic fresh air to politically correct CO2. Point number one didn't get it. Maybe shutting down schools isn't such a bad idea. I did get my chicken in spite of my unruly behavior. It's what I call the rubber band syndrome. The further you pull it back, the harder it hurts when it snaps back. We're about ready to snap back, and we've all been pulled to extremes. It's true. It is a snapback. There's always the other side of the coin, right? Always. You can say that your side is right, but there's always the other side, right? Bitcoin price roller coasters. No one cares about Bitcoin. I mean, I don't care about Bitcoin personally, but some people might find it important. Bitcoin reached an all-time high, topping $34,000 per Bitcoin. Bitcoin briefly slumped back down below 30,000 Monday, but has since paired losses slightly. The cryptocurrency has a historic rally in 2020, advancing more than 300%. Now, if that's not high risk, I don't know what it is. It's just, to me, it's too high risk. You can't invest in something that jumps 300%. It's just insanity. There's no stability, right? It's a short-term investments only. I think personally. All right, here we go. Matt Drudge peddles fake news. All right, Matt Drudge. This is the Matt Drudge homepage. A snapshot of it. So Trump caught on tape trying to rig results. Commander and thief fined 11,780 votes. Threatens officials with crimes. That's from the Drudge Report. Then now the Drudge. Drudge has changed a lot for sure. I stopped looking at Drudge probably about 2 or 3 years ago. Hey, Drudge, you see? Drudge is convert to the liberal side now. Fake journalist. He's just a news aggregator. He's not a journalist. He doesn't do any journalism. Meth capturing face masks for cows. I wonder if AOC came up with this one. AOC, the darling of the Green New Deal. She can capture their farts, Company produces meth capturing face masks for cows. You guys can read that. I'm not going to read that. It's so stupid. Oh, it's funny. Gotta stop the cows from farting, All right, here we go. Oh, yeah, they changed the rules for January 6th electoral vote count. I didn't read through all this. It's a massive article. But they'll meet for a joint session, blah, blah, blah. And then Mike Pence will open up the votes. And if there's any objections, they'll have the senators will have a time to object. There'll be a 2-hour blah, blah, blah. It's long. You can read it. It's just going to be a long process, okay? We all know it's contested. It's going to be contested, so you can read that if you like. Blah, 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 blah. Liz Cheney opposes electoral challenge. I wonder why. To me, it's very simple to understand why people do something, right? You just ask, what do they have to gain? What does this person have to gain from doing this, right? What does Liz Cheney have to gain from opposing electoral challenge? Well, she probably gets. I'm not going to theorize. I'll just say she has her reasons, right? Anyone that opposes a second counting or even like a revote, anyone that opposes anything like that is either trying to cover up something or has something to hide, right? We'll just say it like that. Wall Street eyes billions in Colorado water. Billions. There's a myth about water in the western United States, which is that there's not enough of it. But those who deal closely with water will tell you this is false. I can't even speak. There's plenty, and it is just in the wrong place. This is a very strangely written article. I think it's not. Whatever. Cibola, Arizona is one of the wrong places, home of about 300 people, depending on what time of year you're counting. The town sits on the California border in a stretch of the blah blah blah. Oh, whatever. You can read this. Sure. Billions in Colorado water. Sure. Pennsylvania state website promoting burning Trump flag. Why not? I mean, what are they gonna? Are they gonna shut it down? Disturbing statement from Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan. I never liked Paul Ryan. Following is a statement from the White House former House Speaker Paul Ryan. All our basic rights and freedoms flow from a fidelity to the Constitution and the rule of law. This principle is not only fundamentally American, but a central tenet of conservatism. Under our system, voters determine the president, and this self-governance cannot sustain itself if the whims of Congress replace the will of the people. I urge members to consider the precedent that it will set. Efforts to reject the blah blah. Who gives a crap? Greatest proof of Biden's loss is Paul Ryan declaring that he won. Traitors have a special place in hell waiting for them. Yep. True. Married to an outspoken Democrat. He's always been a rhino. Nothing new here. Blah, blah, blah. These people, some people write some lengthy comments on here. I just don't feel like reading all of them. Paul Nut Nibbler Ryan, all right. Rhino Idiot, any questions? Nope. This is the same man who did everything to undermine Trump since before the 2016 election. Yep. And there's a reason he stepped down from Speaker of the House as well. Young, promising politician with a bright future in politics, stepping away from politics to be with his family. Wonder if he had some compromising material. Blah, blah. Some of these stories I'm not interested in, you know, I just read the headlines, usually a couple sentences, see if it's interesting, and move on, you know. Oh yeah, somebody. The real Hitler is Josh Hawley. Trump's not even gone yet, and Dems are already unveiling this predictable tactic. Yep, from Glenn Greenwald. I don't even like Glenn Greenwald. Trump was never a real, quotations, real fascist threat. Just a joke. The real Hitler is the one coming next. So unless you want real concentration camps this time, stay behind Dems through at least 2024. Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, how do people believe this crap? It's like, oh, Trump wasn't actually Hitler, but the next guy that's coming after him is going to be Hitler. Trust us, we know the best. And they said the world's going to end also in, a couple of years from climate change, remember? Yeah, we won't forget that one. Oh, this story is so stupid. It's actually, it's so sad, man. House prayer ends with amen and all woman. Gender pandering from Democrats on the first day of the new Congress. Yeah, they ended their prayer by saying amen and all woman. And amen isn't even it doesn't mean amen. It's just pure idiocy. It's stupidity on display. Just it's so difficult to read. I can't even imagine how stupid these people are. Let's see. I'm not gonna read all these. There's too many, but I try to read the ones that I find interesting. Oh yeah. Speaking of climate change, the climate darling, the number one climate expert on the planet, Greta Thunberg, may have finally gone through puberty. Oh. This picture is hilarious. Her shirt, Flat Mars Society. I don't even know. I can't even begin to imagine how she was raised and what her parents embedded into her brain. Oh my goodness. I don't even know, dude. Greta Thunberg. Oh yeah, this is a funny one. CNN put me on the coronavirus panel. What the hell are you an expert in? Things that are hard to get rid of. Should say nothing. Like, I'm not an expert in anything. I didn't even graduate high school. Looks like she's been eating Cheetah. Orange thumb, yeah. I noticed that too. She has like a weird thumb. Look at her thumb. It's like red or something. Yeah, it boggles my mind how anyone will believe a teenage girl who has almost no experience in the world. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, when I heard her speech, her impassioned speech, I couldn't stop laughing. It was like a child trying to act all tough and big and bad. It's like, you are a child. What do you know about anything? Just because you have ideas doesn't mean they're good or correct. Sorry, get some life experience, do some actual research, and then we can talk, you know. Let's see. I've already read some of these stories. Oh yeah. There's a guy that was taunting Trump supporters to wear their mask. And then this guy here. Masks don't work by anesthesiologist. I can't even speak English. By Ted Noel. Yeah, it's funny. Little pigs, genuine barbecue sandwiches. We serve pork. We do not serve sheep. So take off the stupid mask. Yep, there you go. Here it is. Yeah, there's an article here about the... No, not that one. No. It's not the one I wanted. There's another article. Fuck. I had to find it. There was an article about... Fuck. I need to pull it up. There's an article about like 40. It's like 50 years study showing that masks don't actually stop anything. So it was a study on influenza, which is just a flu virus, saying that masks don't actually stop the viruses. Like 50 years of data. So I mean, that's something, right? Oh shit. Okay. So I think that's all I'm going to look at today. I mean, there's a lot of stories. I mean, a lot of stories. Look at this. But I would recommend checking out citizenfreepress.com. It's updated hourly, pretty much. Majority of the stories are updated in the morning, afternoon, and at night. So I'm going to hopefully do some recap of them. And we can discuss these stories. I mean, we can talk about any of them that you guys want. I'll link the Citizen Free Press. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I think we should discuss things, right? I mean, I think, as they say, you know, democracy dies in the dark. But, of course, we live in a representative republic. But the republic dies in the dark, too. So we should definitely start shining a light on these criminals and their criminality, right? I mean, you can't just let people... like, commit crimes without repercussions, right? Like, it doesn't matter who you are, right? If you commit a crime, you should go to jail for it. Money, position, power shouldn't absolve you of that, right? Like, especially politicians, they have like this political capital they use, right? It's like, hey, our party has a lot of political capital because people agree with us, so we can do whatever we want. And then when they lose political capital, they can't do what they want, right? It's like they trade crime, doing the time for the crime, with political capital, right? So it's like, hey, we can't go to jail because we're in power. It's like, that's not how it works. So we need to hold people accountable for their actions and protect the republic, because like Ronald Reagan says, you know, I mean, if no one defends freedom, then you lose it, right? It's not free. Freedom is not free, It takes people like you and me. Team America is one of my favorite movies. It's just absurd but true, right? You can't live free if you do nothing to protect that freedom, right? It's like sitting there hoping that someone else will do the work, right? So hoping someone else will risk their neck, their lives for your livelihood, right? It's like putting your trust in someone else that they'll do the right thing, right? Like it's like hoping that the government will regulate itself, right? The FBI will investigate actual federal crimes, and the DOJ will actually prosecute criminals. It's like, okay, what if the criminals are actually running the DOJ and the FBI and the CIA and the NSA and all the other three alleged agencies, right? What if the criminals have taken over and we're just the inmates now, It's just a different way to look at it, right? But true freedom is impossible to truly obtain, but we can at least protect the freedoms that we have now, that people have died for and we have fought for, But I think that's it for me now. I will go. Hopefully, I'm going to start doing some live interviews on the street, hopefully, and hopefully I don't get mugged or destroyed or killed or something, hopefully. But, yeah, hopefully I live near Portland, Oregon, so I'm going to do some Portland reporting, and hopefully we can actually get some word of mouth from the people in the street that are actually witnessing and experiencing this daily, and seeing what's going on in Portland. Because it's not as bad as people think. Truly, it's not. It's only like occasionally there's a group of people that meet up, but it's not that bad, really. But I want to thank you all for viewing, and have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.